Now, I know I'm skipping ahead here to 3.9 for the switch statement, but really, the switch statement is a decision tree just like an if-else or an if-else chain would be. So what we're saying is, in a switch statement, we have multiple alternative decisions to make. So just like we did in the previous example, in the if else, we have multiple decisions to make for your grade, right? You can have an F, a D, a C, a B, an A, and evidently you cannot get higher than an A, which is fine. So we want a simplified decision structure to be able to do that. And honestly, the easiest way to do it is with a switch statement. This is 3.9 in the text. It's also page 151. And really, I just want to highlight what it looks like. So this is page 153. This is what the switch statement looks like. So first and foremost, it does start off with our keyword switch. Secondly, is everything in between these statement blocks belong to the switch statement. And inside of the switch statement, each one of these cases is our alternative. So let's just look at this one right here before we start strategizing on grades. But month. So what I'm having users do is, I didn't think so. What I'm having users do is enter in a numeric value, and the switch statement is going to tell them what month that reports out to be. So in the case that somebody enters the number 1, we're going to print January. In the case that somebody enters the number 2, we're going to print February. In the case that somebody enters the you get the idea where that's going, right? 3, we're going to say March. You'll notice down here we have default. This is very much used in the exact same way that the trailing, so the very last else statement was used in our else if chains. This is what we use to catch all. So if somebody says 13, we're going to get invalid month. If somebody says smarch, we're going to get invalid month. And that's fantastic. Look at how compact that is. Look at how concise that is. That really saves you as a developer a lot of time with indentation. That really saves the next developer in the chain a lot of time having to negotiate that indentation. One thing I will mention here is the first obvious mistake that you're going to make using a switch statement is going to be as follows. Number 1, you'll notice that after case 1, we have a semicolon there. You've been using, or we have a colon. Even I tripped in it there. You have a colon there. It's because we've been using the semicolon in our code this whole time. So there is a difference between the semicolon and the colon. And do remember, as I failed to do just moments ago, that this is a colon, not a semicolon. The other thing here is the break statement. What the break statement does is it gets you out of falling through the switch statement. So let's just say we removed all of these breaks. So here in case 1, in case 2, and case 3, we removed the break. What would happen is as follows. When I put in January, or when I put in the number 1 rather, I would expect to see only January be my output. But instead what's going to happen is, because there's no break there, the case is going to evaluate here and say January. Then it's going to fall through to 2 and say February. Then it's going to fall through to 3 and say March. And actually it's going to go all the way down and still output your invalid month code. The break there in the statement says, hey, look, as soon as one of these cases is evaluated as true. So remember here, this is a number that we entered. This is a number that we entered. This is a number that we entered. So as soon as the case is evaluated as true, that's this one. I entered the number 1. When I hit this break statement, I'm going to get out of this switch statement so that I don't have to keep evaluating anything. That break at the bottom, well, really the bottom here of your individual cases is a huge advantage. Now we are going to see an example later on where we do use falling through to our advantage, but for the most part, until you get the hang of it, it is not a bad idea to really, enforce the idea that you have a break on the the bottom here of each of the cases in your switch statement.